is Tina Trevino for Latin Biz Today, and I am here this morning in the showroom with Rachel Melendez Mabee. And she works for PGA. She's a program work specialist there. So we're really excited to have her because I think there's a lot to talk about. First, I'd love to talk about her whole background, the fact that she's an Afro-Latina in the golf industry. And then our big topic is about diversity in the golf community and a program that the PGA is super involved with called PGA WORKS. So those are a couple things that are on our agenda. So first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the train ride in. So let's first of all just talk about you a little bit and your background, and I'm assuming you are an avid golfer, so
yes.
Tell us a little.
My mother often says I think I came out of the womb with a golf club in my hand, so I'm a very avid golfer. I've golfed my whole life. I grew up in Puerto Rico. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. That's where I learned. I learned at a club in Dorado called Dorado Beach. It's actually the home of Chichi Rodriguez's golf course. So
that I know.
Yes, there you go. So again, golf has sort of always been in a little bit of my DNA. My father is just a golf nut in every sense of the word, and that was his and I bond. So I've played golf since I was, what's the saying, knee-high to a grasshopper?
Yeah.
I feel like I should say that. And then he was my one and only teacher, to be quite honest with you, through my junior golf and even into my collegiate career until I got my golf coach in college.
Wow.
My father was really my only golf coach, my source of sort of inspiration, if you will, that came with the game.
That's probably why you've stuck with it.
Yeah.
and those were going to be some of my other questions. Did it follow you along as you went? Because sometimes it's just a hobby and it's a thing you just share with your friends or whoever taught you. But it sounds like it became a pretty serious part of your life.
It did. I'm a daddy's girl in every sense of the word. And like I said, that was our bond. He was my coach. He was often my caddy. We got in a lot of fights, not gonna lie. But he always was right. But it also became entrenched in my everyday life. Not only did some of my friends play golf and I met some of my very dear friends on the golf course, but as I got older, it became part of sort of my business strategy, if you will. All of a sudden I was meeting people I would never have the chance to meet otherwise, but on the golf course. I was being presented with opportunities because I was on the golf course. So all of a sudden, golf was, yes,
right?
Absolutely. It was a hobby, and it was something I did in high school and college, and it helped pay for some of my college, but it did become really entrenched in my life.
Did you see a lot of diversity when you were in Puerto Rico in terms of golf?
In Puerto Rico, I often say I lived a little bit in a bubble, and I'm okay saying that now as I'm older. Everyone didn't maybe necessarily look like me, but I know I belonged. I spoke the same language. There's different variations in color, but that was never kind of an issue. But when I moved to the United States and I moved to the South, I think all of a sudden it became a little bit more evident. I was older and I was a little bit more cognizant of my surroundings, that it was a little bit of an eye-opener.
Sometimes sports kind of neutralizes stuff though too, right? So if you're only looking at things that way, you don't look at color, whether somebody's black or white or Asian. It's just about the sport itself. So maybe that's part of it. But then, like you said, as you moved to Georgia, that's what I was going to say. At the time you were there, again, the whole diversity question of the people there and the demographic of people. So
now, obviously, there is something to be said. Golf is a neutralizer, or sports are a neutralizer. So I was Rachel Melendez on the golf course competing against XYZ person. I wasn't Rachel Melendez, an Afro-Latina. That was
right.
I mean, yes, visually I am an Afro-Latina, but it is a neutralizer. It's just in my own being, in my surroundings, I did notice, and every the unfortunate thing is that sometimes I was made aware of how I looked. Not very often, but I think that has shaped the position I'm in right now and the advocate that I am right now for diversity in our sport, and especially in the workplace, because of the headwinds that I have faced growing up and being in this sport. I want to debunk that myth, and I want to make this as an inclusive sport as possible.
I think that's awesome, because I think having to have gone through it yourself, you come out on the other side and you can help so many women or Latinos or whoever it is, because I know from my own experience, we were just talking before, I don't know anything about golf, and I grew up in Ohio, so again, there wasn't a lot of golfing there, and I didn't know anything about it until I got to high school. So I didn't have anybody to teach me or explain to me or anything. So for me, it isn't something I have interested in. But talking to you and and what it can be in the kind of the community it can create. makes it a whole different concept. So I'd be willing to try.
Yay! You got a convert. Now just be prepared though. Once you do get involved in it, you're gonna get addicted to it. Yeah, you will be addicted to it. So I have forewarned you.
Okay.
I have forewarned her.
Let's talk about your current role right now as the program work specialist with PGA. So tell me a little bit about how you got there, and then what it is that you're doing there right now.
Sure. So I actually have a background with the PGA of America, working on their championships division. So the best way to explain that, so PGA of America owns and operates major championships, and one is the PGA Championship, and it's housed and hosted at different cities. So I started in Atlanta for the 2011 championship, and then moved to Rochester for the 2013. My boss at the time, who's my boss now, he's the senior director for our foundation. When he left championships and went to the foundation, they were just launching PGA WORKS, and it was one initiative, sort of one program under the initiative, which was our PGA WORKS Fellowship.
How long has it been then since that?
Since 2017.
Okay, sorry.
So it's only been around for a few years, but he knows my background, sort of knows my story, and thought that it was just going to be sort of a match made in heaven.
Perfect fit.
Yeah, exactly. And here I am. And really the intent of the program at its most basic foundation level was to diversify our workforce to mirror, quite frankly, what America looks like today. Our game needs to reflect America, so America can then maybe eventually reflect our game.
Yeah.
And right now, as it stands, it's a very homogenous industry, and we're okay with it, but we're not okay with it. We're okay with it in the sense that we recognize it.
Right.
And we're doing things about it.
What do you think, like, some of the stats would be in terms of male to female ratio, and also the diversity in it? Like, do you have any numbers that you could kind of relate to us?
The numbers that I do have are our industry as a whole, from a workforce perspective, is about an $84 billion industry. Now, PGA of America is a sports association, so we are an association of about 29,000 members. So I have the numbers of our membership. So we are about 93% Caucasian, and then the rest is other. So yeah, exactly. We have a long way to go. There's no question on that. But that was the impetus for us to really be so intentional about our efforts, and that's why PGA WORKS and a lot of our other diversity and inclusion initiatives were really created.
Why do you think it stayed that way for so long, though? I mean,
I can always speculate. We do have some data that we base obviously our narrative on. Some of it is that we're very steeped in tradition. There's a stereotype to our game. If you were, and this is based on a lot of our market research, is that if you think of words that come to mind when you think of golf, it comes up as elitist, very white, very male. And when you are trying to engage the unengaged, then those are the images that are conjured up.
It's a club that you just
exactly
can't get into, I guess.
It's a very exclusive sort of place to be in. It's not for me. I don't belong in it. I don't see it, so I can't be it. And we say that often. If you can see it, you can be it. So we have to sort of showcase that there are people of color, there are women, there are minorities in our game, in our sport, in our business, to showcase to our diverse audiences that this is a place for you.
Yeah.
So the numbers are shifting, and we're confident that they're going to continue to shift. And we're happy to be a leader in the space in changing that narrative.
That's huge. It's an amazing place to be in, I think, right now. Even if you can see a small percentage change, that's massive. So.
Often a mentor of mine has said, we're talking about the micro moments of inclusion right now. We can't really focus so much on the big picture. That's our goal. But we have to focus on those micro moments of inclusion and really be prideful of those as we continue that ripple effect.
Right, yeah. You won't be going backwards, I don't think. I think
no,
every
hopefully
day
not.
it's always going to be forwards from there. So to the PGA WORKS that we're talking about, so like you said, it's a program that's designed to diversify the golf industry. And I saw that there are a few different platforms that it's involved with. So tell me a little bit about each of those components that you guys try to build on to do what you're trying to do.
Sure. So as I said, it started off as actually just one programmatic element under the platform, which was our PGA WORKS Fellowship. It's now grown to, really it's an entire platform dedicated to workforce diversification, and we bring bring this to life through fellowships, scholarships, career exploration events. We even have a collegiate championship that has a career expo. Again, all designed to engage the unengaged. So with the fellowships, it's a year-long paid opportunity. It's fully funded by PGA Reach, which is the foundation of the association. And they are employed by one of our 41 PGA sections across the U.S. And really, the design and intent behind the fellowship is to immerse yourself into all aspects of the industry. We want a business administration major or a communications major, even an IT major, to really look at this kind of opportunity, because you are going to immerse yourself in different aspects, and that's by design.
Right, business has different components.
Exactly.
Golf has different components.
I often say, and I think the light bulb goes off, is that golf is a sport, no question, it is a sport, but it is also a business, and it's an $84 billion business. We have IT components to our industry. We have chemists. Who do you think is making the resin behind our golf balls? Of course, we have communications and sports marketing. So it's a business.
If you're not going to be on the championship circuit, you can certainly
exactly. There's a way that you belong. No question on that. So that's where the fellowship really comes into play. But like I said, we are an association, and we do have memberships, so we want to increase the diversity of our membership. So that's where our PGA WORKS scholarships comes into play. We have what's called golf management universities, and they participate in a PGM program, which is professional golf management program. It's essentially a golf major, and the pathway is to pursue eventual PGA membership.
That's awesome. It just kind of guides them right into it automatically.
And it's part of your coursework. It's part of your studies. It's your major in your school. So to, again, engage the unengaged and inspire those that maybe not have thought about golf in that respect, or didn't think it was accessible, or membership wasn't for them, that's what this scholarship now is for to get entryway into some of those universities.
I love that. And I was looking on your social media, and I see a lot of great posts with young kids and ladies and diverse backgrounds, and it's awesome to see every day like somebody different who which somebody's going to be able to say that looks like me, that looks like me,
Exactly. And you just said it, if you can see it, you can be it. You just personified it, and we're really proud of our social media channels and really personifying that, which please follow us at PGA WORKS. But it really does showcase not only what we're doing, but the experiences that some of our participants are going through. So the other components, we do have a PGA WORKS Beyond the Green. That's our career exploration event. It's typically actually held at our PGA Championship site, so that's already cool in and of itself.
Right.
You're invited to a major championship, but the career exploration event is just that. It is an event where high school students or college-bound students can get a little taste into the industry. We have panel discussions, we have speed networking, they even get a VIP tour of the inner workings of the championship. So again, it's a little taste of it just to engage them
entice them
a little
world.
bit. We're debunking the myth that this is not for you.
Yeah, they wouldn't have had an inside view of that whole thing, if they didn't have that opportunity.
And a lot of the professionals that are involved with this are of color, are minorities, are women. So we go back to what I keep saying, that if you can see it, you can be it. So they're seeing those people in those positions.
Right.
So it's really cool.
And so Rachel and I spoke, I think it's now like maybe 2 months ago, the first time we were just kind of doing our little intro together, and we were just understanding each other's roles, what I do at Melendez today and what she does at PGA. And one of my favorite things, because I told her, again, I repeat it all the time, I'm not a golfer, I don't know anything.
We're going to get you though, we're going to get you up there.
The one thing that as soon as she said it, I was like, I like this woman. She mentioned the catchphrase, the power of the invitation. And to me, there was nothing better than somebody saying that to someone who doesn't have even an inkling about golf, and already it made that connection. So I love that you use that phrase and what you guys are doing, and just tell me like how that kind of came to be, and how you envision that. What do you think that really means, for the PGA?
Oh, absolutely, and thank you for bringing that up. That is something that we often say amongst ourselves at the PGA of America, especially when we're doing our diversity and inclusion initiative. So
it's such a feel-good statement.
It is.
I love it.
In fact, so again, my mentor, excuse me, she's the one who really helped personify that a little bit and really bring that to life. And because she spoke about it in the sense of, imagine yourself if you really took the time to sort of invite someone else outside of what she called the vortex of sameness. Take yourself out of that and really look at inviting someone else into our sport, into our game, into our industry. Like, what would that look like? So that's where that power of the invitation really really came from. And it's very impactful, and I love that you really felt it, because there is something, it's human nature, it's natural to sort of be in your comfort zone and invite those that look like you, that sort of share your same interests, values, whatever it may be. But if you take yourself out of that and invite sort of someone that's outside of that, then you're starting to invite sort of differences into our sport.
You can sit with us,
industry.
right?
Yeah,
You can be
absolutely.
part of this, I think.
And that's part of really personifying the inclusion portion of it. Diversity and inclusion are two distinct sort of words. They're layered together, but diversity really is one thing. We are diversifying ourselves, but when you are including someone, sort of including them into, inviting them to the party, if you will, and inviting them to dance, then you're truly personifying inclusion.
And it's like we say, you may not know all the words, the lingo, whatever, but that inclusion makes you feel like this is fine. I can do this. I can be a part of this.
Exactly. And one of the other layers of PGA WORKS, which is our PGA WORKS Collegiate Championship and Career Expo, also personifies a little bit of the power of the invitation. The Collegiate and Career Expo, namely the Collegiate Championship, and the Career Expo is a part of it, but the championship is for historically black colleges, minority-serving institutions, Hispanic institutions, that have golf teams that never really had a place sort of in the national championship circuit. Sometimes they either weren't good enough or they just didn't have a spot. This is their event. This has now become their national championship.
Oh.
So the PGA of America is very prideful of it in that sense, is that there's no event truly like this. So we are now taking a leadership role in inviting, if you will, out these institutions, these minority-serving institutions, and historically black colleges that sometimes wouldn't have always been synonymous with golf teams, and now having their national championship.
That's
here.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I really love that. That's an amazing thing to have accomplished, actually.
It is, and because of that, we want to obviously still personify what PGA WORKS is about, and we have a PGA WORKS Career Expo as part of the Collegiate Championship. And same thing, it still is inviting those out into our industry now as a work. We want to turn their passion for golf, they are obviously lovers of the game, and turn that into a career. And what better way than to showcase leading industry employers right there into this diverse pool of candidates. It's about 200 participants into these entry-level positions, internship positions, fellowship opportunities. You can't get any better pool of candidates than at this championship.
That's amazing. I love it. So what do you think, I'm going to ask you one other thing, actually. So just going back to you, actually, with this PGA WORKS and, how important it is to you, just tell me a little bit about what that means to you and what you want to accomplish out of it,
Well, sure. I think it's important to me because I've experienced sort of the headwinds that come along with looking the way I do and playing the game and now working in the industry. And it's a driver for me. I truly eat, sleep, breathe this program. We had one of our first marketing videos that we interviewed one of our first inaugural fellows. And she said in this video that she's a black female and she doesn't belong in golf. That was sort of her mindset of it. And it hit me deep as an Afro-Latina, of course, and as a woman of color, that narrative cannot continue.
Right, it could have been you if you didn't get past what you did, and that's the unfortunate thing.
Now, the great thing about that, however, which continues to drive me, is that because of her experience of going through that fellowship, the next question, or I think a little down the road in the video, when she was asked how she saw herself as far as a career, she said she would choose golf. So it works. It actually gives me chills thinking about it because
it's that powerful.
It's that powerful, but you have to experience it. So you have to see people that look like her, and her and I still keep in contact to this day because the experience was so impactful for her that she now would choose golf as her ultimate career.
That's great.
For ones that in the beginning she didn't even see herself in. She literally said she didn't see herself
in that role at
all. So it can be quite the transformation.
So for you, as you're working on all these, what does your days kind of look like in terms of what you do with this program?
No day is like the other. I do a lot of traveling. It's a lot of grassroots initiatives because these are not opportunities that we can just put on a flyer and post it on a job board or on an ad. Because again, we're running into let's golf. those.
You have to have a conversation
Absolutely.
with people. It's
the images
important.
are still conjured up
Yeah.
of elitist, it's white, it's male. So we have to go where our audiences are. So we like to have partnerships with Latin Biz Today or with universities, with HBCUs, with Hispanic serving institutions, and go to those audiences and those students and really educate them on the opportunities that are available to them. And you see it. You see the light bulb go off that, oh, well, with my business major, I guess I can be a golf.
Right.
I can really make an impact.
I
didn't think of it like that.
Possibility.
Exactly. So it's a lot of grassroots initiatives, and I'm totally fine with that. I'm a talker. Maybe that's the Latin in me.
It works.
But yeah,
it works for you.
It works right now. So maybe that's why my boss also hired me. But
she golfs really well, and she talks amazing.
Sold. I'm hired. So I'm totally okay with that. I want to have the conversation. I want to have the relationships. I want them to see themselves in this industry, and I want them to meet someone that looks like them.
Yeah.
That is succeeding in the industry.
Well, I think if anybody meets you, for sure, they will definitely think about it. If not, try golf. I know. I've already the spark is in my head.
Exactly. I'm going to come back to you to see if you've really tried.
So I want to ask you a little bit also here, because all these programs are phenomenal, and it's what we need to bring the youth into it, because that's the future, right? What about people like me who are on the older side, who are thinking about it and just never got into it because of those same reasons you're talking about, and maybe feel like, oh, I'm past that. I don't know. What do you think, and what are your thoughts on trying to get people like that into it?
I'm still a huge proponent of it. It's never too late. They often say golf is just sort of an ageless sport. You can play it into your 80s. Now, PGA WORKS, at the heart of it, is for, it's more entry level, if you will, and we do that because we know that we want to engage those that are unengaged at the entry level and walk through their professional development with them. We want them to eventually have a seat at the table.
Right.
However, when it comes to the sport, I know of several organizations, even clubs. My husband's a PGA member and a head professional at a club in Massachusetts, and you have ladies' leagues, you have women's events, and it's by design, because you want to create an environment where it's inclusive and welcoming.
It's a safe place.
And it's a safe place. You're not going to be intimidated. You're not going to be yelled at for taking too long to hit a golf ball.
What is this?
Exactly. But it is up to the culture of the club and the professional, and those professionals at the PGA of America is educating and mentoring and setting them up for success in that respect to create that kind of culture. But, I know of several organizations, even outside of the PGA of America, that are creating these sort of leagues, if you will. And it's a social event.
It can be a social event. And then, I'll go back to your story where you were a child learning from your father. And, maybe there are people who are at this older stage who don't know, and yet they might have grandkids who are coming up through these ranks that we're talking about, and you want to be able to have them connect too.
And we see it a lot with grandparents, especially, that are bringing their grandchildren out, and it's as cheesy as it sounds, it's so heartwarming.
It's heartwarming. I'm sure that's probably the only word you can use with it. It's just nice to see passing on those traditions, and that's definitely the one way, like it came to you initially, but then you have all these kind of places here where you really need to do the work and get, and bring diversity in and bring the youth back into it. So
and we do a good job at the development of engaging youth and diverse audiences into the sport. Like, we're making it way more accessible. We have a great program called PGA Junior League that is the design of that program. Where we want to take a step further with PGA WORKS now we've sort of captured their love of the sport. Now let's drive them into the business. Not everyone's going to be a Tiger Woods. Not everyone's going to reach that elitist sort of level, if you will, or elite athlete level. So let's turn their passion into a career, as we say. We've captured it. Let's keep them in this sport now in a business sense.
Right. Well, this is awesome. Is there anything you want to share in terms of events or anything coming up, or how people can kind of get involved?
Yeah, the biggest thing is May is a big month for us. May of 2020, we have our PGA WORKS Collegiate Championship and the Expo. Our social channels are the best way to really engage with us and really see what we're all about. Is at PGA WORKS. But within PGAReach.com PGAReach.org is the true website that houses all of our information. And there's donation sites. There's ways to really get involved when it comes to PGA WORKS.
Okay, that's great. Well, we're going to put up some links when the video comes out so that you guys can take advantage of some of these programs that Rachel's been talking about. And we are excited to see you and possibly me on the golf course. So.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel, for coming by. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.